So I want to talk about telemarketing best practices as it relates to some regulation. Of course, don't take this as legal advice, but hopefully this will help you potentially avoid any problems. First and foremost, there are FTC regulations. The FTC law typically states that in many states you cannot call the lead before 8 a.m. or after 9 p.m. Some states even have their own laws that you have to adhere to. Also, in addition to that, there are do not call lists and regulations. If a consumer asks to be put on a do not call list, you should make sure that you have a solid way of documenting that in your phone system, your dialer, or your lead management system. And that way you'll never call the lead again because that can be a big no-no. Another truly important item is the TCPA regulations. TCPA regulations basically state a bunch of stuff, but most importantly, that there's a whole lot of new regulations around calling people on their mobile phone. You'll need to look into that, but either way, just make sure that the lead providers that you're working with or on your own website are TCPA compliant. There's a bunch of resources online that you can find so that you can make sure that all of that is covered. And I don't recommend buying internet leads from a lead provider that is not TCPA compliant. Finally, when it comes to calling, think green. What I mean by that is calling a consumer too many times can be extremely frustrating. And you don't want to just hammer people's phones until they melt, okay? A nice strategy of 6 calls in the first 2 to 3 days is great. But if you're calling people 1,000 times, by the time you get a hold of them, they're not going to want to talk to you or anybody else. And you know what? You might be ruining the process for them actually inquiring in the future. So think of it as a precious resource like water and only call the appropriate amount of times. If you follow these tips, not only will you be a responsible lead manager, but you also will hopefully stay out of trouble's way.